Greetings fellow ukuleleans, Jeff Weinberger coming at you here with a new tutorial. Today I'd like to talk about picking and picks. There's an awful lot of ways to pick a ukulele. First I'd like to go over the ways that you do it with your hand and your fingers. Then I'd like to talk a little bit about picks. I know some of you play ukulele with picks. I don't particularly use them in my day-to-day ukulele playing, but they work for a lot of people. I know people that use a pick all the time and it sounds great. It's a lot louder, a lot slappier, has a little more treble to it. But let's talk about the traditional way first. So you probably noticed in that intro, which I improvised, I was just vaguely inspired by some classical music, but I had no idea what I was going to do. I just knew G minor and let's see what happens. So I used my thumb, obviously. I do that an awful lot. I strum with my thumb. In that case, a drag strum. Maybe I had some melody notes, so I used some fingers in there too. Now this comes from my classical guitar training, so I'm pretty comfortable with that, with using the thumb and the fingers of the right hand. I used to have nails. I was growing my nails for a while there, and I had quite a long thumbnail going, and fingernails. I've lopped them off recently. So that's the first topic I'd like to talk about is nails versus skin. Of course, skin gives you a warmer sound. It's kind of rounder. It's darker. Nails, I don't have any nails, but I'll use the little bit that I have here. Much brighter, much louder, much more trebly, almost like a pick. It's kind of like using a pick when you use your nails. So those are two very different sounds right off the bat. But with your thumb, yeah, that's a larger surface. That's a bigger chunk of skin there. And so that's going to give you that kind of sound. Whereas when you use your finger, automatically that's different. It's thinner because you're using the nail, the fingernail, the back of the finger. That's a way different sound than that. Picking single notes using your thumb, that's very common. You see a lot of virtuosic Hawaiian players and traditional ukulele players who have chops use their thumb for almost everything they do. I tend to use my thumb quite a bit, but I do use my fingers. I alternate them. This is the classical guitar thing again coming out. Index and middle. Fingers I and M. Those are the ones that get the brunt of the work. They have a kind of a neutral sound, I'd say, a medium kind of sound. It's not too loud unless you really dig in, and it's not too soft unless you really want to be soft and you play with very little force like that. But they're very versatile using your index and middle, and it allows you to go fairly fast. You can play scales and melodies much faster when you use two fingers than if you use one, although there are some people that use their thumb both down and up, just like a guitar player would use a guitar pick. Jake Shimabukuro, he's got one of the fastest thumbs in the whole world. And yeah, you see him a lot do like tremolo like that with his thumb going down and up. And that's a cool technique. That's one way to pick the ukulele. So far, what do we have? We have thumb on like a C scale. And then you've got index and middle. Difference, the thumb is warmer, bigger sounding. You can play with a lot of force. And then the fingers, maybe a little more delicate, but very crisp and defined. There's a little more, to my ear, separation between those notes. That allows me to hear the notes a little more separately, whereas my thumb maybe doesn't give it as much definition, but it is an awfully warm sound. So it's nice to know how to do both. Guitar players brought up in the classical guitar tradition learn to use four fingers of their right hand. Their thumb, of course, doing bass notes and things like that, sometimes melodies, but they might use their index, their middle, their ring, and their pinky for various things. One of those things that you might do is pluck all 4 strings at the same time. If I were going to do that, if I were going to play a chord and try to pluck all 4 of its notes like a C chord, I'm using my thumb on the G, I'm using my index on the C, I'm using my my middle on the E, and I'm using my ring on the A. And you pluck them all at the same time. So, of course, you can alternate those. You can have your thumb and then your 3 fingers doing. And then you get into traditional fingerstyle ukulele, which comes from guitar basically, and that's arpeggiating. That's using the notes of the ukulele separately, not all at the same time. I'll play that same chord progression, that little Caribbean sort of thing there, but with arpeggios. So it's very versatile. What you can do with your fingers and your thumb, extremely versatile. It really gives you a lot of different possibilities. Let's get into picks. I have a little bowl here full of picks. I have, over the years, collected, bought, been given, etc. All kinds of picks. I don't use a fraction of these. There's certain picks on the guitar that I use quite a bit. I lean pretty heavy towards these Jim Dunlop little picks. They're Jazz 3s, I think. And they're very heavy. They're thick and they're not very flexible, but I like them. They give me a nice accuracy. You can see how small they are. They have a grip on them, too. The writing on them that says Jim Dunlop and Jazz 3 and all that is raised writing. And so it allows you to grip it. I drop these a lot less than I might drop a traditional pick. Let's hear what this sounds like on the ukulele. It allows you to play pretty fast. If you learn to alternate, if you learn to pick down and you learn to pick up, then you can get quite a bit of speed going there. Like in surf music and that sort of thing.